Private legal practitioner Kweku Paintsil has described as strange and not enforceable a police warning to pastors and other religious leaders against prophecies that are likely to cause fear and panic and disturb public peace. The caution by the police comes ahead of the annual 31st Watch Night services held across the country, often characterized by prophecies. The police says while freedom of religion is guaranteed under the Constitution, the communication of prophecies of harm and danger and death by some religious leaders can cause tension in the country. But speaking in an exclusive interview with my colleague Kweku Asante, Kweku Paintsil warned that any attempt by the state through the police to control the terrain of prophecies will infringe on the right to religion and freedom of speech.
I really have my doubt if there is a proper legal basis for the police statement. I can see the police statement as any statement, any advice that any public interested body may wish to convey to the citizens or to people of this country. It's like anybody advising a pickpocket that around Christmas there's a lot of pickpocketing and we are even more alert than ordinary times, and if you engage in pickpocketing, this is what we do. But the difficulty about the police statement as I find it is generally about the difficulty about enforcing speech, what to say, what not to say. Don't forget that it's not only criminal aspect of it, we also have the civil aspect of freedom of speech. So my freedom to speak will not permit me to, for instance, defame you. The difficulty is whether a court of law, for instance, can make an order directed to me not to defame you. There can be no such power of the court. But as soon as I defame the person, the course of action arises. In the same way with prophecies, indeed, dealing with these ones, we are even getting into spiritual matters. And the whole idea of what somebody is likely to say to find himself liable in criminal conviction for a statement that he has made is quite murky. That's the way I will put it. Because the idea, or what the police said, indeed, legislation exists for speech, hate speech, speeches or statements that are likely to create panic and fear and so forth and so on. But the crunch, the real issue is the ability of the police or any complainant to demonstrate that any particular speech or any particular statement that anybody made or, yes, made created fear and panic. And that's the difficulty. It has not happened, to my knowledge, whether anybody has even been convicted in this country for any kind of speech, especially with regard to a church activity.
President of the Ghana Charismatic and Pentecostal Council, Reverend Dr. Paul Frimpong Manson, has welcomed the latest statement from the police, and speaking to Joy News, he lauded the police for their proactiveness on this issue.
And when we talk about policing, we are talking about peace, safety, and security of the populace. So if there's anything that will bring peace, safety, and security, then they should be on board. And it's good that they have been proactive to some of these things. On the other hand, our Constitution guarantees freedom of religion and freedom of association, but our freedom should be within the framework of the Constitution. One's freedom should not also affect another person's freedom or safety and security. Well, as a Christian and a Bible preacher, I believe in prophecy. That is God speaking to his people now. I also believe in predictive prophecy, that God speaking into the future. And some prophets, whether we like it or not, will make some of us uncomfortable. Some will give us comfort. To me, prophecy is not wrong, but how we deliver it, the fears and the threats that are associated with. So the police statement, I read one line which gave me some form of consolation, that they are not against prophecy, they are not opposed to it. But if you follow the last few years, most of the prophecies that come, especially at the 31st December, is about who will die. Police is trying to say is that we should be cautious, we should be ethical, we should handle some of these things well.
He also explained that they will continuously engage the police administration on matters that deal with issues of their members and the clergy going forward.
Well, we have already met them, I think, some few months ago when the IGP took office. He invited all the faith leaders and we had a chat. The challenge was that those people who actually give these prophecies were not part of the meeting. And that was the problem. And so I remember people saying that the police are banning prophecy. That was never the case. But they were telling us how we should cooperate with them to bring peace in the nation. You see somebody kicking against a pregnant woman in the church. It was abnormal. These are some of the excesses the police were guiding us. They were advising us that we should be careful and exercise restraint in whatever we do. I think at the moment they haven't engaged with us again, but I have read their piece. But what gave me consolation is that they are not against prophecies, one of the bullet points. And so I think they are not going to witch hunt prophets. But then if you also go over the board, I don't think you will go scot-free, because many times the Bible even tells us that when prophets prophesy and the prophecy doesn't come true, the person should be stoned. So if there should be some kind of things that will bring sanity in the prophetic ministry.
So what are your thoughts on this? We've been speaking to some of you on the street of Accra.
Give a prophecy which doesn't come in on. Every prophecy must be fulfilled. So if you use your own mind, then you are doing something against God. That's my version. Because they are causing, false alarm in the public, and people are panic.
Pastors come up with some kind of prophecies that, in a way, it's contradicting the peace and the stability of the nation. So, well, I would say it is in a way to regulate the kind of prophecies that comes out this year. That is also not to say that there wouldn't be any genuine prophecies that will be coming out. Yes, definitely there are genuine men of God that are going to come out with prophecies. But there are also the bad nuts that will be coming out with so many prophecies that I think, in a way, if you should invite whoever that prophecy is for and give it privately to the person and direct the person, it will rather order word than to make it public and to for it to cause some kind of I don't know how to, for the lack of better word to use, say confusion. You understand? So I think it's in order to regulate the way prophecies are going to come out this year. Yeah. So that's my take on that.
When there's a prophecy, we should rather pray towards what God has revealed and not create issues out of it. It's important for us to keep walking on the right path.
The question is, how are they going to know if it is a false prophecy or not? That's the first thing. Most of our pastors and prophets, they make a lot of statements, but, well, how can that be measured?